In the dry, sun-bleached town of Elephant Butte, New Mexico, a place so quiet it barely registered on most maps, a nightmare lived in plain sight. His name was David Parker Ray. To most, he seemed ordinary. A local mechanic, friendly, soft-spoken, and aging like any other man. But inside his property stood something few could imagine, a trailer parked beside his home that would become known as the Toy Box. But this wasn't a place of childhood memories. It was a nightmare factory. Inside that trailer was a setup so disturbing that seasoned FBI agents struggled to explain it. The walls were lined with hooks, clamps, whips, surgical tools, syringes, and restraints. There were shackles hanging from the ceiling. A gynecological table stood at the center of it all, under harsh surgical lighting. Mounted cameras stared down from corners, and beside all of it was a tape recorder containing a voice. Not just any voice. Ray's voice. A calm, rehearsed monologue that played for each of his victims, explaining in graphic detail what was about to happen to them. The tone was ice cold. There was no emotion. It was a man describing his routine, like he was reading instructions. His message always began the same. "Hello there, bitch." And from that point forward, each minute became worse than the last. It wasn't just about physical torture. It was psychological destruction. Many of his victims were sedated with drugs that blurred memory and perception. When they were eventually let go, if they were, they didn't remember what had happened clearly. Some thought they had hallucinated it, others were too terrified to report it, and some were simply never seen again. This continued for years. David Parker Ray and his girlfriend Cindy Hendy, yes, he had help, lured women to their home, especially targeting those living on the margins of society. Sex workers, runaways, women they thought no one would come looking for. But in March of 1999, they made a mistake. They underestimated one woman, Cynthia Vigil. She was chained inside the toy box, just like the others. But after 3 days, when Ray accidentally left the keys on a nearby table, Cynthia seized the moment. She escaped. Wearing only a dog collar and chain, she ran for her life, breaking into a nearby mobile home and calling 911. When police arrived and raided the property, what they found left them stunned. The trailer was real. The tools, the recordings, the journals, all of it. It wasn't a delusion. It wasn't a lie. It was a house of horrors that had operated for over a decade, maybe longer. But that was just the beginning. Authorities found videotapes, dozens of them, showing other women, but most of them were never identified. Ray kept a detailed log of what he did to each victim, but many on the list couldn't be located. Some were dead. Some had no memory. Others had simply disappeared. Despite all of this, no confirmed bodies were ever recovered. Not a single one. To this day, no one knows how many people David Parker Ray actually killed. Some estimates say 14. Others say 60. Some believe it could be over 100. He was ultimately charged with multiple counts of kidnapping and torture. And though he was sentenced to over 200 years in prison, he died of a heart attack just 1 year later before facing full justice. And just like that, the man behind the toy box was gone. The most terrifying part of this story isn't just what he did, it's how easily he blended in. David Parker Ray wasn't a shadowy figure hiding in the dark. He was a neighbour, a mechanic, a man who shook hands and paid his bills. And all the while, his trailer sat right there in the open, locked, waiting. A personal dungeon where unspeakable things happened behind soundproof walls, a place where victims were broken, their identities erased, and their voices silenced. The toy box was never just a trailer, it was the physical manifestation of a monster's mind. And the scariest part? No one knows how many souls it swallowed whole.